Hello everyone, this is Left Not Liberal. A recent op-ed was published in the New York Times titled, "Make China Great Again." As the title implies, this is about the TPP and makes the same old argument about how either America's going to write the rules of trade or that we're going to write the rules of trade. It's an old argument. We've fought it for years now with the struggle against the TPP, which we have won, thankfully, and it's trying to make it seem like this is one of the bad things Trump has done, when maybe it's the only good thing. It opens up talking about his recent ban on travel from 7 mostly Muslim nations, which is a travesty. I have personally protested it, and many of you, my viewers, have also been involved in protesting it as well, and we need to keep on with that. However, the other claims in this article are nonsense. It makes the same argument that China is growing and either it's going to mold the world in an authoritarian image unless we write the rules of trade, when in actuality, we don't care about what the government system in these other countries are as long as corporations make massive profits out of their labor. That's the reality, as we've seen time and time again with Colombia, Panama, NAFTA, with Mexico, and what we were probably going to see with the TPP if we passed it and they were going to ship it off to authoritarian regimes like Vietnam. It says that the executive order by Trump is likely to be very bad for the U.S. and says that a lot of the arguments made by the left and the right, sure to clarify the right as well, have been silly. However, if you actually go to the webpage, which I'm going to post in the description, the internal link that it gives, the citation it gives, is a Business Insider article talking about how Obama was booed at the DNC over the TPP. And this is it was just reported on a protest. It did not actually give any of the facts of the agreement. It did not comment on the arguments made by their opponents, just how Obama was heckled about the TPP. This is utterly ridiculous. It doesn't even address the arguments that we made against the TPP at all. But then actually admits what the TPP is all about. It's not even about trade, and we all knew this from the start. It is primarily a tool for spreading U.S. corporate interests abroad. That's exactly what we were saying from the start. This isn't about trade. This is not about the economy. Most of the sections had to do with other issues like regulations and political issues. And a lot of this was not stuff that we were in favor of. Intellectual property laws, ISDS, and even some of the restrictions that it would give on labor unions to the United States were very damaging, and we were opposed to them for obvious reasons. However, it actually cites that these rules on intellectual property and labor unions were amazing because they would bring Vietnam standards up to America's. And this is just a ludicrous argument. America already has very weak labor standards compared to some of the other nations that were in the agreement to begin with, nations like Chile, Chile, Australia, and New Zealand. The US was pretty weak there, and this is why we don't have a very strong labor movement anyway. So, saying that this was going to bring it up to the American labor standards was nonsense. And the intellectual property laws would be made more restrictive than anything else. And this was meant to go after people in Australia primarily because there's a lot of video piracy that goes on there because there isn't as much good content produced domestically. And this would require companies to monitor their users' internet usage to see if they were downloading illegally copyrighted content. It would also make it easier for pharmaceutical companies to extend the patent life on their medications so they could jack up the price of life-saving drugs. It was not a good deal. And the fact that this article is trying to make it seem like this is all about how Trump is making China great. It's ludicrous. The point I want to make here is that this article, Make China Great Again, is the exact thing that this growing resistance movement to Trump, need to be afraid of as well. Trump is not our only enemy. We also need to be against the neoliberal establishment that doesn't like Trump, but doesn't like us either. As I said in my speech that I posted to the Inauguration Day protest, we need to be looking at building another world, not just bringing back the world that we had with Obama that Trump is going to make worse. That we will just be back to square one if we only stop Trump's agenda. We must further stop the agenda of the corporations and of the corporate elite. That is who our ultimate enemy must be. It's not just Trump. This movement is greater than that. And we must be wary of articles like this and of the elites trying to co-opt our movement by making this about how, oh, look at the TPP, Trump did that was bad. We need to be aware that this is not what we are about. We are about pursuing a radical agenda for a new world. Not just about stopping Trump because we hate everything he does. This was maybe the one good thing Trump did. Probably the last good thing he did. But if we allow the neoliberals and the hawks to co-opt this movement and push their agenda for war and austerity and free trade, then our movement is dead, and we will have resisted all for nothing. And this is just the beginning of the movement. So we have to be even more vigilant for the next 4 years. Remain vigilant. Watch who's trying to take over this movement. Keep it radical. And as always, solidarity.